I'm Kenna. I'm a senior here at ASU, studying criminology and criminal justice. So this is like, I don't know, I think I've taken like 5 classes with Professor Ripley at this point. But anyway, my debate today is going to be debate number 1. Um, the World Health Organization was or was not successful, effective with COVID and other diseases. I'm arguing that they are successful and effective. However, I feel like the question was a little bit of like a gray area in there because effective in what way, I guess? Like in a preventative way or in like a media type of way. I don't know. Like, I feel like it could kind of go either way with the question. So, how I took it was um, the World Health Organization was successful and effective in at least warning everybody about COVID. Um, Maybe not necessarily preventing it or anything, but at least warning people. So to start off, I have like a list here, literally, of like an entire timeline of the World Health Organization and everything that they were able to do to like warn people about COVID. Um, so December of 2019, of course, was when everyone was first starting to hear about this. Um, so they had picked up a media statement from China saying that there was like viral pneumonia going around, and that there was like no really cause, like no one really knew what was wrong necessarily, just a bunch of like pneumonia cases. So this was the first one that the World Health Organization first got hold of it. As the disease started to kind of progress and everything and get worse and more people started to get it and it started to kind of spread, that's when in January, they had requested information on the reported cluster of atypical pneumonia cases in Wuhan from the authorities. So they were like pushing throughout January. It looks like throughout the first few days of January, actually, they were kind of pushing for all this information from China, trying to get information in order to warn everybody else because all these cases were happening. So my argument here is that they were at least trying, they were being effective in trying to get this information out, to get the correct information so that way they could give it to other people, to the world, so they could prevent um, this whole thing from happening. So in January was when they seemingly had pushed for the information, and then they tweeted apparently that there was a bunch of pneumonia cases, but there was no deaths in Wuhan. Later, um, they, sorry, so at this point, after they had received this information, this was when they were tweeting and they were letting everybody else know. So everyone on Twitter was like updated on this virus, on what was going on over in China, that it was created, or it was an outbreak that was happening out there of pneumonia. Then, in January 11th of 2020, the Chinese media reported the first death from the coronavirus. Um, so, so then that was all of January, where they were kind of just getting the information. They were pushing for the information from China. They were really trying to get that out to the rest of the world. So in that sense, yes, I think they were effective in at least trying to get that information, and in some ways actually getting that information out via Twitter or whatever else it was, news statements, anything like that. Getting things out was a priority. It's not, I feel like they didn't just disregard it completely. They were trying to help. So then February comes around, and this is when they've realized that it is not just in China, it is other places around the world. I think at this point, I just read there was like 170 something cases around the world. But at this point, they were really trying to evaluate other diseases. So here it says H1N1 and Ebola were the two that they tried to evaluate to kind of see like what guidelines that they had for those particular pandemics, and then like what they were going to do for this one. And so in that sense, I feel like they were effective in at least trying to come up with a plan as well. They were effective. They really tried to use precedent cases in order to help the current case. And obviously, if you don't want to help the current case, you wouldn't be looking at those precedent cases. You would kind of just wing it and figure it out on your own. So I feel like they were effective in trying to get that information out and to put together like just a list of guidelines and help and ways of help and things that they were able to do to make this virus go away or minimize it. So obviously, after this was when everything kind of started to break out, more so in March. This was when we were quarantined. Everything, obviously, everything kind of happened then. So the biggest thing I think in the initial leading up to COVID and the quarantine and everything, I think they did everything right. My argument is that they did everything right. They did look for the information, they did push for that information, they did inform people when they got that information, and they did try to put together an entire like plan to prevent and contain this virus. Did the plan work? Not really, but it was the effort, I guess, that was put in. So it might not have been 100% effective in a sense of, obviously the virus is still out there and it is still everywhere and it is still very big. So it was not effective in that way. However, it was effective in a sense of letting people know what was going on and how they were going to fix it and how they were going to try and solve it. So like I said, I feel like that was kind of a loaded question there, so I kind of took it on my own perspective. But yeah, thank you guys.